Buddy, excuse me, we're going to be streaming. And again, I always warn people in the audience that your voice can be picked up, so please don't say anything about your neighbors or your friends, just in case, because it will pick it up on the microphone. But we'll start in just, we're going to start just a few seconds, okay?
This is Holly, I'm here.
Hi, Holly.
Hi.
Okay, I will call the regular meeting of the Southbury Board of Selectmen, October 6, 2022, to order at 7 p.m. If we could have the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. First up, we'll go with public comments. Please limit the public comments to 2 minutes. If anybody wants to make a public comment, please come up and make a public comment. State your name and where you might live.
Thank you for letting me speak. I will be brief, I promise.
Is that working?
Hello, testing. Testing. Yes, that's working. I have a deep voice. My name is Vincent Patrick Marolo. I am a lifelong resident of Southbury. I am the class president of the Millennium Class of 2000 Pomperog High School. Thank you. I am not an actor, and I am not being paid. I am also a proud independent voter. What happened September 15th at the Southbury Public Library was an absolute travesty for our beautiful town. A dangerous group of online conspiracy bigots were invited to our hallowed community and given a forum to speak in the same building where my nephews go to read and learn and grow. This is unacceptable and inappropriate. When this group's historical revisionist leader was asked about those who oppose his opinions, he described them as such, and I quote, immoral, anti-racist, and anti-scientific. They also claimed we are well-funded and that I am trained and we are trained on how to debate with them. None of this is true except for anti-racist. I don't know why he said it. They said in their lecture, we could lose this battle. There is no battle. The battle only exists in their minds and online. The livelihoods, reputations, and safety of Region 15 educators was put at risk. It's been a trying few years. We are all tired from working hard and pandemic fatigue. And when a community is preoccupied, it tends to drop its moral vigilance and moral guard. And if we do not reinforce that moral guard, armies of hatred will march right over us and leave nothing but sadness in their wake. I want everyone here to understand I did not try to stop this group from speaking. If I wanted to stop them, I would have stood in front of the library door. The same issue of online conspiracy safety is on trial right now in our beautiful sister town of Newtown. The point of my statement is this: extremist political groups on either side should not be teaching history. History teachers should be teaching history. Alternative history and alternative facts have no place in our library, our town, or in our regional school system. I find it amazing that on the agenda tonight is the 85th anniversary of when we kicked the Nazis. I didn't know that it was the anniversary. I find it amazing. I just wanted to let everyone know dangerous hatred and nonsense was invited to our town. It's okay to say no to hatred, and if you don't know, now you know. Peace.
Any other public comment? Oh, Mr. Leventhal.
Hard to follow that up. My name is Jerry Leventhal. I'm the president of Heritage Village. I come tonight to represent a couple things. One is we've had very fruitful discussions with Sergeant Grillo about meeting the needs of the seniors, and I came here to thank Jeff and all of you for opening up those avenues of discussion. We are very supportive of the detective position. It was never our contention that Southbury did not need a detective. It was the fact that it was replacing what we thought was needed. So I want to thank Jeff. I want to thank the Selectmen. We hope that these negotiations continue. Residents were asked not to come and overwhelm the meeting tonight to make sure that you knew that we are in this to be part of the process and part of a solution. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other?
My name is Isabel Burke. I live in Heritage Village, and I come in peace. We have had a very hard couple of years, just like this gentleman pointed out. But the thought that you are truly thinking about our safety really warms my heart. And I can't tell you how much we appreciate the fact that you're willing to reconsider and meet us part way so that we can sleep at night, feel safe, and know that our town really respects us. Again, thank you.
Marsha Weinstein, Heritage Village. A couple of meetings ago, a lot of people were bringing up ideas for the village and what we needed, and we were told that a lot of these things should fall to the senior center. They should be handled there. The problem with that, I did a survey through the village. Problem with that is that a lot of people won't go to our senior center because of who's running it. They have been banned for disagreeing with her. They have been banned because they won't give her their personal health histories. She's entitled to get a emergency contact number, but not a health history. I'm in the health field. You're not entitled to that. Something needs to be done where she's concerned so that the people in the village and all the seniors in Southbury can feel free to go to the senior center rather than go into Oxford and Woodbury and a couple other areas. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Yes, sir.
Thank you for waiting. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Frank Calandrusio, I'm also from Heritage Village, and I'm a former federal agent who has a lot of experience in protection, security, and specialized investigation. And it's my expert opinion that the detective position as well as the CRO are really critical to the town. Detective, especially if the caseloads are increasing, and our police have already proven that they're capable of handling as many caseloads as they are. But unfortunately, as you know, crime grows, and so detective would be a very important position. CRO, critical for a lot of reasons. I think, unfortunately, that Sergeant Grillo was looking to hire in the wrong places. I think he needs to look into the retired police community for a lot of reasons, but I'll limit it to a couple. From an age standpoint, it can better relate to the community within Heritage. Also, they may not need overtime, they may not need benefits, depending upon what force they came from. So, additionally, as you know, there was a fatal fire in Heritage in the last few days. Very critical, but we have a terrific volunteer fire department, but they're volunteers. It takes time for volunteers to get to the station, get the equipment, and get to the fire. Any first responder will tell you time is critical. Timing is critical. Maybe if there was a CRO on the premises, maybe that person would have been first on the scene. Who knows? Would that resident have been saved? We can't answer that. But it does create a what-if situation. And again, as all responders will tell you, timing is critical. Additionally, last thing I want to talk about is social services here in town. We have a part-timer with the number of older residents that are in throughout the town, not just Heritage, but throughout the town, I think a full-time social services person may be critical to the town, and very needed as well. I thank you for your time, and appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Any other public comment? Any other public comment? Okay, thank you. Hearing none, we'll conclude that part of our agenda. Announcements and correspondence are in front of you. Ed Edelson was coming. I don't know if we missed him. He's welcome to come again. Can we, it's about the 85th anniversary. It's important. I think we're getting the word out. Ed wanted to play this, so I think we could do that. Betsy?
Hey, Michael Benson here, author of Gangsters vs. Nazis, and I am here to remind all my friends in Connecticut to save the date. It's November 11th through 13th. It's going to be a great weekend. People of Southbury, Connecticut are celebrating the 85th anniversary of the time when people of Southbury kicked the Nazis out of town just short of 4 years before the U.S. entered World War II. I have the honor of delivering the keynote speech on Saturday evening. I'm going to be talking not only about the heroes of Southbury, but a cautionary tale, the story that's in my book, about what could have happened in Southbury had not they nipped the invasion in the bud. So please come out. Everybody in Connecticut should be proud of this story. The presentation is going to be family friendly, so bring the kids. And if you want more information, check out the website right down below. Thanks. See you there.
So I think Southbury, I don't know about Connecticut, but I know Southbury can be very proud of what happened back then and what was going on. And we'll continue to promote the 85th anniversary of when Southbury said no to the Nazis. Consent agenda, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Can I have a second, Justin? Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
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 I would take that as unanimous vote for approval. Minutes of, can we take the minutes? Does anybody have an issue with taking the minutes together? We'll take the minutes of September 15th, 2022 regular meeting for approval, along with September 22nd, 2022 special meeting approval. Can I have a motion to approve both?
So moved.
Thank you. Can I have a second? John, would you like to second that?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Any discussion on the minutes? I'd like to include everybody. That's all I'm trying to do here. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
I have to abstain.
You're abstaining? You were, okay. Greg's abstaining. I don't think you were here.
I wasn't at the meetings, yep.
Just for the record, you can review the minutes, or you listen to the tape and you can vote on it, just for clarification if that wasn't clear. But you can do that
Okay.
in the future.
Yeah, good, thank you.
You know, if that's what you think was happened, that's fine.
Okay.
Bids and procurements, we have a motion to approve. Custodial services.
Motion to approve as written.
Can I have a second? That's a toss-up, you know. Like. That's a toss-up on Wheel of Fortune. A second. Any discussion on this? Hearing none, call the vote. All signify by saying aye.
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 Any nays? Hearing none, it's approved. Unfinished business, job description of the detective. Can we bring the job description up? I believe from the job description was removed, the liaisons wording in there. Was it removed, or do we need a motion?
It's still in there. Can you go to the second page?
Yep.
Is it in there? Where is it?
Yes.
Okay. So we would need a motion to remove the liaison language from that?
So moved.
Okay, so we will strike the detective shall be the Heritage Village Masters Association liaison. At the point of liaison, the detective will assist, we'll strike that part of that job description. I have a motion made by Justin Betty. Do I have a second? Greg, will you second that?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Second
Thank
it.
you.
Any discussion on that?
Just want to point out that we had some emails, my feeling, and I think others' feeling, is that the detective should focus on being the detective, and we should discuss what else we can do moving forward to address the concerns of our Heritage Village residents.
Agreed.
I'll just add to that, I think in further discussions with the police as well, would be beneficial to have them as separate roles and let the detective focus on his responsibilities or her responsibilities.
Okay. And I will,
And if I,
go ahead.
and getting a job description for the community resource officer posted and set up, so I'd be moving forward with this, with that.
And he said he would remain the point of contact at this point for any concerns by Heritage Village. So, and he's been doing that. That's been so. Anybody else? Anything else? Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor of the job, well, we have to
The amendment.
amendment to amend the job description to remove the paragraph, the detective shall be the Heritage Village Masters Association liaison. At the point of liaison, the detective will advise Heritage Village management as needed. Incidences that are reported to the detective from Heritage Village will be forwarded to dispatch or a supervisor for appropriate assignment. That will be struck from the job description. That's the motion. Here, everybody, call the vote. All in favor of that?
Aye.
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 Justin, you're,
Aye.
thank you. Any opposed? Not hearing any. No abstentions. It passes. Under new business is a job description. I'm sorry. Under new business is discussion of the community. Oh, unfinished business.
We voted on the amendment, we have to vote on the job description.
Amended description.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I have a motion? Can I have a motion to vote on the amended job description?
It's already on
It's already on, that's on the agenda.
yeah.
On the agenda.
So I'll second it.
Made and seconded. Any discussion on that? Thank you for the point of order. Hearing none, I'll call the vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Abstentions? It carries unanimously. Thank you for catching me on that. Under new business, discussion of community resource officer. It's on the agenda. I don't think we're ready to do anything just tonight, but we will certainly move forward with having discussions with the police department and the experts in this field. There's a lot to be discussed, including getting manpower up, or if we were to create what it would look like, possible job description, and how it would fit into the community. Anybody want to just talk about anything other than that? I mean,
I've heard a lot of the commentary about, obviously our friends in Heritage Village are interested in having this. Unless there's some contractual or legal reason it needs to be called a community resource officer. We just created a youth officer. Why don't we create a seniors officer so it's clear to people outside of Heritage Village that this person is also available to them to help them with their issues. I think it makes sense to, when we get there to have this person positioned in Heritage Village. I understand they've offered us a desk, a phone, computer for this person to use if we figure a time for them to be there. So that's one thought I had, is just make it a little more broad-based and descriptive, if that's, a way to go.
yeah, I think certainly that's part of the discussion. And I'm also, I recognize there's a lot of seniors in the Heritage Village community, but we also recognize that there's also seniors outside of that community, in the Circle, Heritage Crest, and even in our community.
All over the place.
So we can discuss that moving forward. Jason, you?
I mean, that was weird.
Push the button.
Yeah. No, I'll just say for purposes of tonight, I think it's just important to convey a commitment to engage in a discussion and the process to evaluate the position, whatever it may be called in the end after that process, evaluating the position, evaluating what it should entail, and so on. And then once we get to that point, it's a process. You need a job description. We need to negotiate with the union and create the position and all of that. But I do think a discussion is important and worthwhile, and I think it's important for us to send a message that we're committed to doing that. Thanks.
Okay, is there anybody else who would like to speak on this matter at this time?
Yeah, I would actually, yes, please.
Go ahead, John.
So, no, very excited to keep that on the agenda and converse about it. I would like to make a motion to enter the other 35 letters that we've received to the other letter that was attached to this agenda, so that it can be recognized in the work that was done to get to this point, which is very appreciative.
I'll make a second for the point of discussion.
Motion made and seconded to discuss adding 35 letters to what, John?
To the minutes of this meeting. In addition to the one that was in the comments and correspondence above.
Okay, so there was about 35 letters that were addressed to the Board of Selectmen. We all have them. I was sent a letter from a constituent who asked me to send it to the Board of Selectmen, which I did, so that they have another view. So we are well aware of all 35 of the letters and the other letter that was asked to be sent to the board. So it's in the record.
Yeah, I was just thinking if this particular single letter was attached to the minutes, then the others that were sent to us should be, because they were also forwarded with the same request.
Except the board had all the other letters. The Board of Selectmen had them. They're part of public, it's part of the public, so. All right, so there's a motion on the floor.
I'll just say, I mean, it's the public record. I mean, it's public information, so it doesn't really, if someone wants the letters, they're available. And so I don't really, doesn't really matter to me if they're attached to minutes or not. I'll just raise one issue that I'm thinking of as I'm sitting here. We get a lot of emails from a lot of people. I think people do realize sometimes that it's public information, not always. These emails contain phone numbers at times, email addresses, things like that. So I'm just not sure. Based on that, obviously it's public, and if people want them, they can get them, and they can publish them and do whatever they want with them. But I'm just not sure it's necessary to add them to our minutes. Just based on that, not based on the substance,
Holly, did you have a comment?
Yes, and I apologize if there's a terrible echo. Having submitted many letters of testimony to the Judiciary Committee, I'm pretty familiar with the redaction that probably should happen to those. So I just have some concerns for the privacy of folks who might not have planned for those to go into the minutes. They're just a little bit more accessible, whereas they would still certainly become available should somebody ask for them. However, being in the minutes, I'm just concerned about the content of personal information, as Jason stated.
Okay. Greg?
I will just make a quick comment that the 35 that were scanned and sent to Noreen for inclusion, they were replied to individually that that they would be offered to be included in the minutes so that they were easier to find as a group as opposed to somebody asking for them individually. But the authors were aware that they were being placed here, possibly.
Okay, at this point, I'll call the vote. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed?
Nay.
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 It doesn't pass. Okay, I think we're set with the community, under new business, the discussion community relations officer for tonight. On the first selectmen's report, the good news is that the two bridges, Flood Bridge and the road, the bridge over Heritage Road, under budget and ahead of schedule. We're opened up, ahead of schedule, good job came in. Thank you. I know it's painful at times when we set these, making decisions on either closing roads or how we proceed with the process. Sometimes it's a little inconvenient, but the little inconvenience that runs along with it is my experience on a number of road programs. We've been getting through, from Bucks Hill, a job, a number of bridge work that we've done, and the good news is they're under budget, which honestly in construction, that is not always the case. So we did pretty good there. I also want to talk to the board a little bit about, I've been meeting with the chair of the Board of Finance and Dan Colton on the town pool, the good, better, best cost, financing, what it could take, what it could be, and what the impact could be on the budget, should we build it. I'm pretty happy. I think I'd like to call, just so the board can make a good decision of whatever we think we should do. There'll be a lot more to it than that. I'm thinking, you know, getting together with input and everything. But the good news is, I think we can afford to get there. We've worked that down with a minimal impact. One of my concerns, of course, is what will be presented and what kind of impact would it be to the people in Heritage Village, you know, to their taxes, or what it would be and how it would be. You know me, I've always watched the numbers, but I think we should have a meeting and see what that could mean. It may help us make a decision on what level, what we do and how we could do. So I'd like to get going with that. I'll reach out to John and see, maybe we do it at a Board of Finance meeting where the Board of Selectmen are at, and see if that works. So monitor the Board of Finance's, you know, rather than get the Board of Finance out here or a special meeting, if that's possible. But I think we're going to be in pretty good shape with that. And we have some direction on that, so look forward to that. All right, I think, any questions of me? Justin, you're looking,
There was something I did want to ask you, and I should have written it down. Oh, I know what it was. We had a request from Pierce Hollow a month or so ago about
Pierce Hollow?
potentially releasing ARPA money. What are we doing with that?
So I reached out to Pierce Hollow, to the committee, and I asked them to, I think they need to get 3 bids to follow our purchase policy. It's significant. So I've reached out to them to gather they're having trouble getting a date, not my side, whatever it is they're busy with. I need to know what the environmental issues are. Do they know enough about the environmental issues that we can go out to an RFP? And then we'll see if we can get an RFP, help them get an RFP going. I can forward that email to you, and get them to figure out and get that RFP, make sure and get an environmental company chosen to do it. I think they need a little help with that,
Sure.
all right? Because time is ticking on that,
Right, that's what I was thinking.
yeah. So we'll work, I'm not sure, 100% sure if they have the whole, entire environmental
Phase one,
two, to really do a bid on an RFP. I have to find that, you know, I mean, we did the phase one on projects, and then depending on that, and I know what the phase one is gonna say, is you're gonna have to look at it, that's gonna go to the phase two. I need to see the reports on the phase two, and I need to see if it's enough to go out for an RFP that would be accurate enough to properly bid it, or get a proposal, all right?
sounds good.
While you're chatting about the topic of some ARPA funds, do you have any update on the subcommittee that was dealing with nonprofit funding? We got an email this week that mentioned they hadn't met since March. Curious to get an update.
I'll talk with Dan on that. We still have that committee in place, the ARPA,
He's talking about, we created
the
a new committee.
the new committee. Yeah, I saw those emails going around. And we'll
So I think it was a couple of nonprofits that are mentioning that they are looking for some of those funds to be approved.
I think they need to submit to the committee, and I think there's some restrictions on, you have to have been a nonprofit for, don't hold me, there's a certain period of time, or over a year, or whatever it was. You couldn't be a new nonprofit to go after the funds, so to speak. But it's pretty obvious that there's going to be some need in the, during the home heating season with the prices of oil for home heating, if anybody's put oil in their barrel lately. It's kind of scary. So,
Yeah, and I think that's what part of the question was, is how that nonprofits that might be able to get some of those funds released to offset fuel costs is the way I read the email, but just how to get that approved if they haven't met since March is troublesome, I guess.
yeah, the fuel bank is a nonprofit that's been in operation for quite some time, and that would be who would, if there's an issue, and then there's also through social services. There was a comment made tonight, and I'm not criticizing anybody. Just for the record, the Board of Selectmen does know that there is, in the budget, funding for a full-time social worker. It's funded, we have a social worker, they're available. If the load, appreciatively, if the load is not there, they don't have, you know, there's busy times and there's times when they're not busy. We've also, for the record, we've also not only had that, we've also had an intern helping who is going for social services. So we do have in the budget, as needed, money for full-time if needed. And, you know, depending on what's the needs are. We're also, my administration has been very happy with bringing in interns. I think it's important to, and that was one of them that was going for their MSW, and they needed an internship. They had a bachelor's, they were just trying to get that they required, and it worked extremely well. And we think it's important to feed the pipeline, if you will, make sure we're, you know, even if they don't stay here, it's important to keep people, and we do a pretty good job of that. So if there's an intern and there's a need, we bring in the intern, and you know, they're not like they don't have a degree. They do have a degree. They're working towards their master's, and they need the time in the saddle, so to speak. So we do have full-time. All right. Any other questions of me? Okay. Reports from liaisons. Selectman Betty.
So economic development met recently. You know, folks that are watching, there's been quite a few ribbon cuttings and some nice openings of new business in town. As always, our economic development director is a very busy fella. And one of the requests that I had from the committee to bring here is that during the recent Arts and Eats Festival, a community doodle was created. I don't know if anybody saw it, but it was a 6x6 blank sheet of paper that was, artwork was put on it during the day. Some drawings from kids, adults, etc. So they have this thing, and they're wondering if we might consider hanging it somewhere, perhaps in this room. It's kind of cute, if you haven't seen it yet. So that was the one request I had from the committee to bring back here this week. IPOC has not met since our last meeting. Strategic planning will meet next week. The other thing that I am doing right now that's not on the list is liaising with the 350th anniversary folks. They met last night. That is moving along very well, as it should, as it's rapidly approaching. A lot of good ideas floating around, and we are lucky to have the people that we have on that, including the Dwyers, who are so in tune with our town's history, which is really what this celebration's all about. Tentatively, they're looking at having events for each month of the year instead of one big event. Lots of smaller ones, things in the school, and we'll have more on that as we move forward. They're meeting every 2 weeks because obviously time is of the essence.
Okay. Jason?
None of my committees have met since our last meeting, but I just want to correct something that I found. It just didn't sound right to me. We approved the ARPA subcommittee for nonprofit programs on August 18th, so it's not accurate that they haven't met since March. They weren't created until the end of August, and we should follow up with them and see what, you know, where they're at, because, you know, their responsibility is to come up with the parameters of the program and then solicit applications. But they're a recent creation.
Library board?
None of them met since our last meeting. They met the week right before our last meeting.
You're all set.
They all met.
You're all
So-
set, okay. John, do you have any report?
Just touch basically, and I do thank you, Jason, for that update. I did gather that information just from an email that we received, so thank you for the correction and update. The Parks and Rec did meet last 2 weeks ago, I guess it was when we had our special meeting. I was not able to attend either, but I did read through their minutes, and it looks like they've had a pretty successful summer and moving off to their winter projects, but they do have some conversation on capital improvements for the pickleball and the boat launch. Those are some exciting projects being worked on. And then the Conservation Commission did meet, filed some reports, and looks like updates and some additional details for their work they're doing on a different open land. But they're keeping busy, but work in progress, I should say. Updated past work. And then the Community Relations Task Force met. They, one task they were taking work on is working on the holiday tree lighting and making it more inclusive. So any ideas, I think at this point, they were looking to gather suggestions, ideas for this upcoming December tree lighting. They could be forwarded to myself, and we can get them on a list. And then moving forward into next year, setting up a small committee that might talk about different seasonal projects and programs that would be interfaith, maybe a spring or a fall celebration to combine with and work with the others that are in place, but to pick up a more inclusive programming. So all good stuff there. Thank you.
Okay. Greg?
I missed my Senior Commission and Energy Task Force meetings, and thank you very much to both the commission and the task force for their understanding, dealing with some personal and family health stuff. IT Steering Committee meets next week, and Senior and Energy Task Force meet before our next meeting, so I will have a report next meeting.
And so Holly has said she'll give a report at the next, she's having some echo thing going on. If I could take a minute, I just want to clarify something. There was, way back, a couple of meetings, there was a statement made that said something about not being able to see a contract, the police contract. And not knowing and have it was ripped out in 7 minutes. I want to remind the board that on May 23rd of 2022, there was a special Board of Selectmen's meeting in executive session. And that meeting started at 6:02 and ended at 7:45 PM. And that whole discussion was on the police contract and what was going on, what the positions were. And I can assure you that that hour and 45 minutes, somewhere in there came up a discussion about the detective's position and the elimination of the CRO position. So there was more than ample time for the Board of Selectmen to understand that contract. It was an hour and 45 minutes. It wasn't discussed, it was just a finalization of the 15 minutes of the executive session just before we took the vote. Just for the record, there was an hour and 45-minute executive session on the contract. Greg, you were not there, but you were part of the negotiation team.
Yep.
Okay. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Seconded.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.